Posted right on the wall as you walk in, right around the corner, is the actual Open Meeting Act. We'd ask that you stand with us for a moment of silence and as well give pledge to allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll continue with roll call.
Granquist,
Here.
Lange,
Here.
Merrill,
Here.
Lawson,
Here.
Murin,
Here.
Moaning,
Here.
Faust,
Here.
File.
Here.
All right, and I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as provided you.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor.
Second.
Motion with a second for approval of the consent agenda. If you will please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
And as well, request for approval of the full agenda.
So move, Your Honor. Second.
Motion with a second to approve the full agenda as provided. Again, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Okay. First thing on the agenda tonight is a couple different special presentations. First, we'll do the proclamation for March 2015 as Intellectual and Development Disability Awareness Month. Whereas the month of March 2015 has been designated as National Intellectual and Development Disabilities Awareness Month in order to celebrate and to recognize people with disabilities. And whereas disability is a natural part of the human experience and in no way diminishes the right of people with disabilities to make choice, to contribute to society, and to experience in full the many blessings of American society. And whereas family members, friends, and the community at large all play a role in supporting people with disabilities as they pursue their dreams, and whereas the goals of this city properly including helping people with disability realize full access to housing, employment, and the recreation activities which help create productive and satisfying lives, and to live as independently as possible. And now, therefore, I, Sue Fookman, Mayor of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2015 as Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in the City of Norfolk, Nebraska. And I urge all citizens to observe the month with appropriate programs and activities. Furthermore, I encourage citizens to seek information from those organizations with expertise in matters concerning professionals who support individuals with intellectual and development disabilities. Is there someone here to receive the proclamation? Okay. If you would like, I think it'd be great if you would go over there and state your name for us. Okay. Right over at the microphone, state your name, please.
My name's Brittany Romshek. I'm the Community Relations Manager for Mosaic. The proclamation was put in through Mosaic, but is for all service providers nationwide. It's a national proclamation. At Mosaic, we serve people with intellectual and developmental disabilities with a primary diagnosis of an intellectual disability. We provide them services to live a full life like you and I do. Very similar to lots of other providers in Norfolk. The one thing that's different about us is that we are a faith-based nonprofit. So we're very involved in government and what's going on within our state and federally. So.
Mosaic's been here quite a few years now too, has it not? Do you know?
Yep, we've been in Norfolk for just over 25 years.
Yeah.
And our agency, the Northeast Nebraska Agency, we have locations in Norfolk, Columbus, and Fremont, and then we also provide services in Ponca and Decatur. So we're very wide, and we're in a period of growth. So.
Any idea how many you serve, approximately?
In Norfolk, it's about 75. In Ponca and Decatur, we have one individual in each site. Columbus, we have about 20, and in Fremont, about 30. So our agency is pretty large.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you guys
Well,
have
we
any other questions?
Anyone? Any questions? we certainly appreciate what you do for the community and for those very people. So thanks for
Thank you.
being here tonight, and, keep us informed of what it is that's going on down there. I think you've been in a couple different places, and obviously I'm sure it's because of growth. So
Yeah.
all that being said, congratulations.
Thank you.
You bet.
We do have one thing to mention, I'm sorry. In commemoration of NIDDA month, we do have an open house at our site, at our office here in town, March 19th, I believe. It's from 9 to 11. It's really the only opportunity that the public ever has to view our office, just because we don't like to put our individuals on display, so to speak. So it's kind
Very
of a
good.
cool thing for the community.
Feel free to send us an email on that, and we'll make sure that all the council gets it as well. So I'm going to do that.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for being here. Okay, and the second proclamation for Spay Day USA. Whereas cats and dogs provide companionship and share the homes of hundreds of individuals in Norfolk, and whereas the problem of pet overpopulation is a reason for the cost of animal control and animal pound expenses for Norfolk taxpayers, and whereas animal pounds and shelters throughout the country must euthanize approximately 4 million cats and dogs each year, although many of them are healthy and adoptable due to the lack of critical resources such as money, space, and good adoptive homes. And whereas spaying and neutering cats and dogs, among other animal companions, has been shown to drastically reduce pet overpopulation, and whereas veterinarians, national and local animal welfare organizations, and private citizens have joined together once again this year to advocate and support the spaying and neutering of companion animals on Spay Day USA 2015. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Sue Fuchman, Mayor of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, by the power vested in me, do hereby proclaim February 24th, 2015 as Spay Day USA in the City of Norfolk and the surrounding area, and urge citizens to observe this day by having their own cats or dogs spayed or neutered, or by sponsoring the spaying or neutering of another person's cat or dog, or a homeless cat or dog. Anyone here you want to come forward too?
I'm with Heartland Animal Advocates. Take pictures every day of the adopted animals and donate money for veterinary care and try to help out wherever we can. I should say it. I suppose
You're welcome to, just if you'll state your name for us. Really, it's not that scary up here, trust me. These gentlemen can be that way a little bit, I understand, but
Well, thank you very much for declaring Spay Day USA in Norfolk. As the proclamation said, millions of animals are put to sleep annually simply because there are not enough homes for them. And one thing that we can do individually to help this tragic problem is to have our own pets spayed or neutered, or if that's already been done, pay for a friend's pet, cat or dog to be neutered, or do the same for a homeless animal. And it's something we can all do to help. These are healthy animals that are put to sleep, kittens and puppies, as well as adult dogs and cats, and it's a nationwide problem. And again, we really, I'm from Heartland Animal Advocates, and we really appreciate you declaring the day of USA Spay Day.
very good. Well, we appreciate your coming and sharing with us, so thank you. Okay, we'll move on to public hearing. First, public hearing to discuss the 2015 through 2021 and 6-year street improvement plan. I will open the hearing and, oh, look who's in front of us here, huh?
You get me back this evening. Dennis Smith, Public Works Director. You all should have a copy of the 1 and 6-year street plan
Share with me.
in your agenda packet. This is a requirement that we complete this by March 1st of each year. It's the key to our portion of the state gasoline tax that comes back to the city of Norfolk. So it's in the tune of $2.5 million a year, thereabouts, that we get back each year. So I'll just kind of go through the projects that are on here, and I'll concentrate on the one-year projects. If you have any questions about some of the future projects, most certainly will answer any of those questions as well. First project we have is our miscellaneous contract street work. It's listed at $300,000 for next fiscal year. And the projects we're talking about tonight are for the fiscal year that starts on October 1st of 2015. So these projects are future projects, even the ones that are listed in the one-year project. Highly unlikely that we'll see anything happening with those during the 2015 construction season. At $300,000 there, we typically are in about the $650,000 range. If you look down at the bottom of the list, number 10 is $350,000 for reconstruction of Prospect Avenue between 27th Street and Ridgeway Drive. That's a project that staff has identified that would fall under this miscellaneous street construction by contract work. So we've got that pulled out separately, so the combination of those two is still the $650,000. 8th Street, reconstruct that from Michigan Avenue to Omaha Avenue. That project actually got pulled up 1 year quicker than what we had in last year's plan. We need to do something with the drainage at the intersection of 8th and Michigan. We've tried some Band-Aids and just haven't been very successful, and this project will provide some outfall for that stormwater there. We'll make the intersection better. It's not going to be perfect by a long shot, because that would be a very expensive project to get it really to drain totally. Part of the reason we were able to pull up that project a year quicker is that one of the projects that was in last year's work was Highway 35 from Omaha Avenue to Norfolk Avenue. The city was on the hook for a 20% match on that. That and then the project going on out to Woodland Park are primarily being funded with earmarks that Congressman Fortenberry got when he was in Congress. One of those projects earmarks came with a 0% match to it. And the state applied that to the Victory Road portion of the Highway 35 project, and so the city of Norfolk was beneficiary of that we didn't have to come up with that 20% match. So that was about $400,000 to $500,000. So this project's the beneficiary of that, being able to move it forward another year. Project 4 is just to recognize that in our special assessment districts, there are some intersections and oversized costs that get bonded on a routine basis. Project 8 is the second year of funding for the Norfolk Avenue Bridge at Cottonwood. We're currently working on preliminary engineering for that project to identify roadway widths, type of bridge, specifically type of construction, making provisions for a trail along the river as well as a part of that project. So we currently need to get some traffic counts at the two entrances to Hy-Vee and to First and Norfolk. So we're hoping for a clear day later this week that we can get that traffic counted. Typically count traffic on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays as more representative of traffic throughout the year. You don't want the peak days, and you really don't want to count it on a day when it's snowy and icy and things like that. So, and then project number 9 is a new project that was added to the project list this year, and that's the reconstruction of Brosh Avenue from First Street to Fifth Street. Looking at that project spread out over a 3-4 year time frame here. Hopefully getting started with some engineering next year. We're looking at hopefully maybe dovetailing this with some of the community revitalization, community development block grants that we've gotten over the years. So that's the project out there, and pretty much is the extent of the projects we got here. Looking for any suggestions for projects out at the end of this 6-year project that we could have for consideration for inclusion in next year's project as we go forward. So with that, I'd open it up to any questions from the council, and then followed with if there's any questions from the public.
Council, any questions at all?
I think it's important that we explain what the CHAP fund actually, how our funding for these projects, and I ask you this every year, but I think it's important that it gets out there because it's important for people to know where the 12.3 million and the 1 million and the 180,000 where that all comes from to fund the entire list of projects on here until 2021.
Okay. CHAF stands for City Highway Allocation Fund. And the state gasoline tax, there's a portion of that that comes back to the city of Norfolk. And there's various components to that gas tax. There's a base part of it that the state gets 53%, the cities get 12.5%, and the counties get 12.5%. There's another penny or two that is just shared by the cities and the counties. You hear about Build Nebraska Act, which was 0.25% of the sales tax, is being moved from the state general fund into the highway fund for some accelerated road construction. 15% of that fund comes to the cities and the counties. The other 85% goes to the Department of Roads, of which I think 25% of the state's 85% has to be used for the expressway project. That's the Highway 30 from Schuyler to Fremont. That's also US 275 from Pilger to, or actually the Highway
47
57 to Scribner. That would be part of that. So it's gasoline tax is what it is, and it's collected by the state, and a part of it comes back to Norfolk. And then there's a little bit of interest in here, and then there's also some federal money that comes to the state for communities of the size of, well, it's actually 0 to 200,000 now.
Still part of that CHAF fund? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it comes into the
Okay.
CHAF fund.
Okay.
Yeah. That federal money has to be spent by the state on certain projects and in the communities. What has occurred is that there are a lot of rules and regulations that are attached to that money. So the state has now offered the communities, and we've all taken it, they'll give us 80% of that money. It's state money, comes with no strings attached other than it has to be used on street projects. So it probably is get the money and get to spend it faster than working through the rules and the regulations, and and the state still has to follow all the rules and the regulations, but they're geared up for that because about probably half of their highway construction funding comes from federal funding, so they're dealing with it on a daily basis, as opposed to somebody like the city of Norfolk. We do it once every 1, 2, 3, 4 years. So those are the largest components of what makes up our CHAF fund funding. Most of that does get used for capital construction. There's about $415,000 annually in the CHAF fund that is transferred to the city's general fund to help with funding the street division's ongoing street maintenance activities. So,
Well expressed, Dennis. Any other questions, council? Anyone in the audience that may have questions
more comments?
or comments?
Just, can you just briefly describe how the street projects are determined, how they're prioritized within the city?
We've done some, had some street transportation planning that identified some large projects. The ongoing contract maintenance projects, they're identified either by, complaints, council suggestions, street division staff that's out there on a daily basis. You're gonna concentrate on your major arterials and collectors. Prospect is a collector street, so that's kind of why that one's coming up there. Last summer, the money was used on First Street, Norfolk Avenue, and Victory Road, which are all arterials that we're seeing some effects of the alkali silica reactivity. So we did some patching, ground off a couple of inches, and then put asphalt back in there. So all of those things, just a combination of the things that you see where streets are being distressed. I think that on the agenda we had authorization for bidding a couple of projects. We got Crenzine Drive down in front of Tractor Supply and the bank and Advance Auto that's going to be reconstructed this summer. Also First Street, or Paswalk from First Street east about 2 blocks. The Crenzine one, my staff says, we need to do something there. And I says, well, that street's not that terribly old. It's probably 30 years. It was built after I came. And so I was out on my bicycle. I should have taken their word because it's pretty much rubble. It was a rough block and a half ride through that one. So it is broke up. There's not a lot of potholes, but there's nothing bigger than about a foot square piece that's left together there anymore. So, but that's kind of the way we do it.
Okay. Any other questions at all, council? Comments, anyone? If not, thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome.
And if nothing further from the council, we'll look for a planning commission report.
The Norfolk Planning Commission reviewed the City of Norfolk 2015 to 2021 and 6-year street improvement plan on February 3rd, 2015. It was presented by the city engineer and discussed in its entirety with the Planning Commission. The Norfolk Planning Commission recommends approval of the 1 and 6-year street improvements plan.
All right, and with that, I will close the hearing, and then I would look for a motion to for approval of resolution number 2015-4, approving the 2015 through 2020 1 and 6-year plan for street improvements.
Your Honor, I would offer resolution 2015-4.
Second that, Your Honor.
Okay, we have a motion with a second. Any discussion at all? If not, I would ask for your vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, resolution 2015-4 is adopted.
All right, and finally is consideration of approval to award a contract to Penro Construction of Pender, Nebraska for the South Highway 81 Sanitary Sewer and Lift Station, Sanitary Sewer Extension District number 247. That project in the amount of $2,712,048.50.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor.
Second.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. Are we speaking to this at all?
We can speak to it. I'll give you a little bit of background and we'll answer any questions you have.
All right.
This is our sewer extension south of the river that we've been working on for the last couple of years. We had 3 bidders on the project. Given the low bid, the Highest bid was $344,000. Penrose was in the, or that was from H.R. Bookstrom. Rutchins was at $3.3 million. It's not an inexpensive project, but I think it's one that we need to get completed. Should provide sewer to the whole Highway 81 corridor down to Sherwood, going east on Sherwood about half a mile. Also, got a leg that goes about a half a mile east along Bonita Drive. Gets back to about the center of that section there. And there's a leg that goes west on North Airport Road, get out there to the National Guard facility. So, would answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Any questions at all, council?
Not a question, just, I think it's something that we need to do. We made a commitment to do this to some industries down in that area. And, we have, it appears that we have a very respectable company, Penrose, spent a lot of work for us doing the project. And we had 2 other bids that were, made their bid appear to be quite a deal, so.
Great. Well, you're right. We've talked about this for a long time, so if no further discussion then, I would ask for your vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Okay, seeing nothing else on the agenda, we are adjourned.